Hello again. Before we get started, please be sure to review these important disclosures. Please pause the video to continue reading. In this video, I will go into more detail about the ebb and flow trading strategy diverted mode function and share some practical uses for it. Please visit our website at robusttradingsystems.com to see more about our automated trading strategies and subscription options for use with NinjaTrader 8. Ebb and Flow version 37 beta has been posted and subscribers can download it to join in final evaluation and testing. Okay, moving on. We're going to turn off start in diverted mode because we're not going to a live chart. We're just going to run it in market replay here. I want to show you that when I turn this on, the buttons will pop up into the chart trader area on the 5-minute chart. Those are your divert option buttons, and they build right into the chart trader panel. Turn it off and turn it back on again so you can see. Okay, we'll get it started here. Diverted trades can happen one of a few ways. One is when you first start out on a live chart. I recommend that you start in divert mode. There's a checkbox for that. Another way is that there are some previously found optimized settings, but keep in mind that those are for Eastern time that you could check. They were optimized across a few different contract periods, which that stuff can change over time, so test and see if you like it or not. A third way is that you can individually select half hours. Oh, and by the way, you can also select the 8:25 Eastern time in the morning right before those 8:30 news reports, especially if you're trading currency futures like the Canadian dollar futures. Those tend to bounce around a lot when those reports hit, or sometimes even before. So I find that the segmenting out the 8:25 Eastern time is good. There are corresponding times for the continental U.S., the lower 48 anyway, 3 time zones. And if you want corresponding time zones for that 8:25 for other parts of the world, please let me know. We'll get those added for you. Okay, and the fourth way that the divert can happen is by these buttons right here that are that come alive in the chart trader when you enable the strategy. So, for example, I can force divert on. I just clicked it. Now, on the very next change in price, you'll see the existing order to sell change into a diverted order to sell. It's just for display purposes now. It's also telling us diverted short pending at the white line, okay? The white dash dot line. If I want to turn it back on to live trading at the click of a button, force divert off, okay? And as soon as price changes, we'll have our trade back in place. By the way, when I click these buttons, it tells us over here what's happening. And as part of the beta where we've added the new VWAP and retrace things, there's a message here. We're going to figure out where else to park various things. We may move if we're going to keep that message permanently after the beta, then we may move the force divert off message to the middle. It's easy to do. And so again, as soon as we click, the very next change in price triggers off what we want it to do. Force divert off brings us back to live trading. Okay, if I'm in force divert on, then I have this other option, okay, that I can do reset divert. Reset divert is going to take me back to whatever recipe I have set in terms of my half-hour diverts or other preset diverts that I could have set in the settings before I enabled the strategy. Okay, so if during this particular half hour that would have us diverted, then by clicking reset divert, it would have us in a diverted mode, not in a live trading mode. So I didn't click any half-hour diverts, and so therefore, if I force it on, okay, and then I reset it, then it would just bring me back to live trading. Now, if I'm in diverted trading, let's watch this play out a little bit, and I'm stuck in a trade, I do have an option to break that trade if I want it to start hunting the next trade sooner rather than waiting for it to play out. Okay, now we're in a diverted trade. Okay, we got an advanced bar stop. Let's get in another trade, diverted trade. Okay, now we're in a diverted trade. The diverted trade is looking to touch that green line to get a trigger, to get a target. It's now got an advanced bar stop pending. If it hits that red line, orange line. Okay. It's not a great example because usually I would use the force divert stop if it was, against me and I wanted to then hunt for like a live trade next. I would force that divert stop and then I would switch it into force divert off so that I'm live trading. But let me go ahead and just trigger that force divert stop by clicking this button. Okay, it hit the target, and actually I think that I'm not certain, but I think if it's not working against you, then the force divert stop may not even work. Let's get into the next one here. And then I'm going to tell you where that's particularly useful. Okay, diverted short pending. Yeah, it has to be against you, and that's why it took this one here. So there's one that's against us now. All right, now watch what happens when I click force diverted stop. On the next change in price, it should stop, and it just did. Okay. Here's where that's particularly useful. When you go to trade on a live chart and you first enable your strategy, it will show you historical trades on that chart. Those historical trades will not be based on the price action. In other words, the price that took place, the exact movements up and down during each bar. What it will do is it'll simply apply the trades to the close of each bar. And that shows on the chart a different result than what it would have been in real time. Okay, so we call that historical. And it may have taken a trade in that historical mode that isn't even accurate as a result. Those are not real trades or anything. And remember that we like to start a live chart out in diverted mode. And for this very, very reason, because if it's stuck in a historical trade, we want it to be stuck in a diverted historical trade. So that if we're ready to get some action going, we can force the diverted stop button and let it hunt for the next trade. Okay, very simple. It certainly makes turning strategies on easy and very comfortable. You know you're going to start out in a diverted mode. If that diverted mode has a funny looking historical trade, you're not stuck waiting necessarily until that historical trade plays out on the chart before you can get started with your actual trading. And again, just use the forced diverted stop. Let's talk about some other benefits of these buttons. Let's say that we're expecting a news conference at 10:30 a.m. and right now we're in live trading. Okay, just click the force divert off. You see down here it says half-hour diversion is off. Trading is live. That tells us we are live. We're literally hunting for our next trade, which can't take place on that line anyway because we had a stop, but on this one we can, and that was again a forced stop. But it still will disallow on that bar, provided we haven't done those advanced checkboxes to keep that from happening. We like to get to the next bar first, of course, on a stop. And so at 10:30 is a news conference, and it could make the trading go haywire, just as an example. So what we might want to do is, before that happens, we could force divert on and then just watch it play out in diverted mode and sit this one out, but get to still see it on the chart, not have to feel like I can't, that I have to go in and turn my strategy off and then turn it all back on again just to avoid that thing hitting at 10:30, news, whatever it is, news report. And then when I'm comfortable to go back in, or I see that, hey, price isn't jumping around 100 ticks here or there, maybe I'm comfortable to force divert back off and take whatever trade might be pending or after one plays out after that time period. So very easily, it's at the click of a button that I can do that. Okay, so we'll play out my little scenario here real quick. It's not going to set up a short yet until I get a close below a body. All right, so another scenario might be, hey, I'm ready to go to bed, and I'm not in any trades, or I want to let this trade that I'm in play out and then not take any more trades for the rest of the night. I can simply force divert on and go to bed. Wake up tomorrow morning, see all the diverted trades that it took overnight, see what I missed, good or bad, and go back to trading again with force divert off, where trading is again live. Maybe I'm ready to take my kid to her piano lesson. So I can simply force divert on and come back later, again, see what I missed, and turn it back off, or turn it to my, maybe I have some half hours that are always blocked out for, set to divert. I would use this to turn divert off, or go back to my recipe that I have set in my settings. So this is an important feature, because when you have automated trading, I feel like you want to have the flexibility to do what you want, when you need to, and still be able to see what's happening. If you didn't have this diverted trading, you'd have to literally go into your strategy and disable it, which could be done in the control panel or by right clicking and going to strategies and going to your strategy and scrolling down and disabling and hitting apply. And then it's all pulled off. And when you turn it back on, you don't know where it would have left you off before, and so that can throw things off. You can't see what would have happened. It's certainly not one click, and this makes it one click. So it's just particularly useful, and it's fast. It's NinjaTrader fast, right? So force. Well, we're not getting any trades because those are all up bars in a downtrend here. But you've seen it. It's fast, and so this is a tool that to me makes trading incredibly comfortable. Okay, hey, maybe I think the market's just going to go up from here, and I just don't feel comfortable taking this next trade. Hey, let's force divert on, and hey, I'm out. I can watch it play out with comfort now, and not feel stuck into having to negotiate a bunch of windows, or maybe things are moving so fast I don't even have time to do that. So here I can now do this with complete comfort. Maybe I have certain times set to divert with the half-hour divert options, but I determine that I really want to take the trade. So I can say force divert off, take the trades that I want, and then go back and hit reset divert to go back to my recipe of half hours. Okay, and that concludes this segment about the divert mode.